Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Trader to the Living here. Was just working on a couple things with the GR Mega from Tasty Chips. Was just going to talk a little bit about gear and music. And I was thinking about today just about how it seems like a lot of people, and myself included sometimes, really seem to focus more on the gear than making actual music. I've been guilty of it, and I see it in other people on other channels, the way people talk in groups and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with getting gear, with, wanting to add to your studio to do more things. Some people aren't about, making songs and putting out music. They just want to explore with sounds. They want to just, have jams and stuff and not actually make, put out full songs and whatnot. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But a lot of people, myself included, like to put out music and full songs. And the thing about it is we get gear obsessed sometimes, I think people focus, I see it in a lot of certain live streams and stuff where people just focus so hard on the gear. And, if I could just get this, this SP1200 or this, whatever, the Polybrute 12 or this one, there's always a piece that's gonna be the one defining factor that's gonna put you over to the top to get your album out or to finally get your stuff done. And I don't think it's all necessarily gear acquisition syndrome. That's part of it, I think. A lot of people get caught in that. But there's something about, and I don't think it's just in music. I think people just, romanticize things, whether it be the ultimate camera or, parts for your car or your classic, there's always something that people kind of romanticize and hold up on this lofty platter of it's so great and it's going to make everything better. And in the case of being an artist, a musician, if your goal, like many of us, our goal is to make music, and again, I'm not criticizing anybody who that's not what they're going for. If you're just, it's just an adventure and exploration and sound, that's totally cool and nothing wrong with that. So don't take this like I'm saying you're doing something wrong if you're not making music that you're putting out. But for many of us, the end goal and the purpose here is to make songs that we put out, whether it be on videos on YouTube or albums on Bandcamp or however you get your music out there, putting it up on SoundCloud, whatever it is. That's the purpose. And I feel like with gear, now I have acquired some new gear over this last couple months. And I've had people oh, you got the gas again, and or you're going back into that same mindset of getting gear over music. And no, actually, I'm not in this case. I have in the past definitely had the gas gear acquisition syndrome thing. But over these last 2 to 3 years, since I've kind of come out of that, I didn't really get a whole lot, just a couple pieces here and there that I added, and each thing has been very strategic. Now, all this latest stuff that I have added has been things that I have been strategically planning and thinking of how I'm going to implement and what they're going to bring into my studio. I'm not just like buying the newest random thing, like, oh, this what's that one little desktop synth that just came out? I forget. Anyway, Loop Pop just did a thing on it. Like, whatever the newest thing is, I'm not like gassing over like this is out and that's out, and it's the things that I'm getting are sometimes old things. I mean, yes, I got the Waldorf Quantum, which I got a crazy deal on an MK1. It was really cheap. I mean, especially considered how much they were when they came out new, and how much an MK2 is, what, like $6,500 or something. So this was like not even close to, not way less for a used Quantum MK1. And I've had my eye on that for years, and thought about how it would work in to my setup. And for me, I don't buy gear and then just like, oh, this doesn't work out, I'm going to sell it. It doesn't go for that, like that for me. I know a lot of people will buy things and find that it doesn't fit their workflow or whatnot. And I get that. But for me, I do like tons of research, videos, read the manual, go through a long period of waiting a lot before I pull the trigger to make sure. Because when I purchase something, it's for life. It's something that I'm going to work on and use creatively forever. And sometimes I may put things away for a while. Right now, I've got a lot of things put away in the studio. Now, am I going to sell them because I'm not using them? No. But this is me. And this isn't, I'm not saying that this is the same approach for everybody, because some people, they get things to experiment with. They find it's not right for them. They're not using it. They want to sell it, get something else. And so I get that. That's not my approach. People are saying like, oh, you must be rich or something. It's like, no, like I've planned out these things in order to get them. The Third Wave 8M was something that I looked at and thought about for a while. Was pre-ordered, and the Muse, I waited, it's been out way over a year, and I debated, did my research, my due diligence on whether or not this is going to be the analog poly that fits for my studio, for my workspace, for my workflow, for my creativity. Is it going to bring something to the table, which I feel it does. Now the Quantum 1000% falls into that category of something that's going to be a sound design tool and exploration device of creativity that I see having forever. I don't buy things to just, off the newest cool thing. I just recently, not long ago, got the Chroma console, from Hologram Electronics. Now, I had the Microcosm for years, and Chroma Console's been out for a long time. I didn't just jump on the gas right away and was like, oh, I'm gotta buy that because there's videos everywhere. No, I wait until everything calms down. I sit there, I see the long term, I watch, I read, I absorb, and figure out, is that going to be for me? That's what I did with the Labyrinth. Is it really going to add to my sound studio, my Moogs? I do that with almost all gear. The GR Mega was something that I looked really long and hard at, which is absolutely amazing. Deep machine. Still learning that. But yeah, I feel like for a lot of people, it's like this obsession of the gear. It's like, oh, this one piece is gonna throw me over the edge, or you know how many people I know that in the community that bought SP 1200s because of that magic drum sound, and they just thought it was going to be the over the top thing that's going to be the one piece of gear that's going to change their sound and make their beats finally hit hard like those old school, and then either end up selling it or it just sits collecting dust and don't use them. And that is just straight up gear infatuation, where you just think, oh, this piece. No, none of these tools are going to make your music better. It might give you different sounds. It's going to be a tool you can use to get to an end, which is making music in most of our cases as musicians and artists. Or, some people just like to sound design and create patches and things on synthesizers. But stuff like, just thinking that, oh, this one piece is going to be the be all end all of your sound. And then as soon as you get that, you're moving on to the next thing, or you sell it off in like 3 months. And I see people doing this stuff, and it's like, at the end of the day, is it about the gear or is it about the music? What is... The instruments are supposed to be something that we use to produce music, to make music, right? A lot of us are bedroom producers, hobbyists. Some of you guys are professionals and do this, and professionals, they get gear because it's for their studio and to help, for money and stuff. It's kind of a different ball game than let's say just the hobbyist or your average home body producer. But yeah, I feel like that it's just so much, and YouTube it's like so focused on the gear. And, we have all these synthfluencers and influencers of like, all these different types that are constantly pushing that, to where I feel like everybody loses focus, it feels like, in a lot of cases. Now, not everybody. A lot of people are out there making music and jamming and doing really cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I see this as like... I saw it kind of escalating after the pandemic. During the pandemic, everybody all of a sudden was like buying gear and being a musician, which was awesome. People were finding their inner artist. And the Daydream Sound was talking about this on his live stream recently, and then a lot of those people disappeared. Like all of a sudden, there was a big boom of, Instagram, YouTube video, people making jams and Dallas jams and all that, and a lot of those people are gone. A lot of those channels and things have just died off. But I feel like that's when like the peak of like gear became a big thing, and I got pretty bad with gas in those years. I was buying like insane amounts of gear and adding stuff, and but now, like I said, everything that I've got now, I feel like I've rounded out my sound. For synthesis, I've got analog, I've got digital, I've got additive, I've got granular, I've got subtractive and FM, and I feel like I'm not having a lot of redundancy in my setup. And there are things that do similar things, and then I'll put things away, and they might be something that I bring out later for a project. Maybe on another project I want to use the Quasimidi Sirius and bring it out and use it with the Microfreak and the Model Cycles, where on another project I might want to use the Third Wave 8M and the Voltage Lab with the Syntact. I like to have options like that for songs so that I can change up, get inspiration that way. I get inspired by gear when I use it. But yeah, it's just become like a thing where, I don't know. It's not annoying, and it's not... I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with it. It's just like, at the end of the day, as a musician, your focus, you would think, would be to make music, Now, if you're not in this to be a musician, and you're only in this to, collect, or to, like I said, nothing wrong with sound design, and there's nothing wrong with that. You want to collect synthesizers or whatever, or you want to, that's fine. But for the majority of us, you want to make music. And at least I think so. I think the vast majority. And there's a lot of people out there doing it. I see a lot of creative, cool stuff. But when you go into some of these live streams and these groups on social media and stuff that are about certain companies and devices, it's just like, it's this weird, like, fetishist society, like mindset of like gear and gear lust and hating on other gear and shaming people for their gear, and then like obsessing over this, and you'll get this and people want something even more. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just find it really odd. It kind of turns me off lately. Like I've been getting back into YouTube these last couple months, and I don't know. It kind of just like bums me out when it's like and I like to talk about gear. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a lot of fun to talk about what things can do and the technological aspects of them, and I really highly enjoy that. It's not something I talk about in my normal life with friends or family very much. I might have a couple buddies that will talk about a synthesizer or something like that, but not like as regular conversation. So this is like something that's just on YouTube or social medias. But yeah, we got to stop like fetish. Yeah, I can't even say it. Like, you know what I mean? Stop holding the gear over the music, because it's just equipment, and gear comes and goes. And I'd rather just hear what songs people are coming up with and what kind of jam someone does. Is way cooler. And there's nothing wrong with talking about it, with being like, hey, I've been looking at this one new thing and it looks cool. But when that becomes like more important than everything else, it's just like, what the hell, like you lost sight of what you originally loved and why you were doing this in order to buy a bunch of stuff that you're just going to sell and not use, and you didn't really think through as how it's going to work, and you're not going to make a song with it, it's what it is. People are weird, huh? And like I said, it's just not in the music world. But the thing about the music world compared to like other hobbies, if it's not a creative hobby where, then it's not like you're buying it. You're not buying a muscle car in order to create something. You're buying it to work on it, drive it around, do whatever. So it's a different thing in the music world realm. But anyhow, I hope everyone's doing good. PMA all day. Be good to yourself. Be good to those around you. You never know when someone that you care about is just gonna cease being here. And I hope y'all can be good to each other. All right. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.